The first man got the second man's attention, and he said he was having trouble finding 44th Street and Main Street. The man replied to him that he could tell him right then what his main problem was, and because they run parallel, and he wanted to know what exactly the men were trying to find. The man replied to him that he was trying to find Sunshine Convention Center, and he was running late for presentation, and his exhibition team was waiting for him right then. The man suggested looking for Main Street and Highway 44, going on the end of the Main Street, and it would intersect with the Highway 44 head north, and he would find the convention center on his right, and he suggested putting some air into the rear left tire of the man's car. The man said to the woman that he'd like to open a pen account with her branch. The woman agreed with him, and she suggested filling out that application. Then he would need two forms of the identification, one proving his day of birth, and the other with the photo, a birth certificate, and the driver's license. Would be preferable. Lastly, she needed a government document providing his current address, and she wanted to know if the man would like to apply for a joint account or that were the account solely for him. The man replied to her that he wanted a joint account, and he wanted to know if he needed his wife's document because she wasn't there with him right then. But he thought he had some of her ID. The woman replied to him that if he had his marriage certificate with him, they could get all the paperwork done on her behalf. However, she suggested his wife drop in by her branch because she had to sign that application. The man got the woman's attention, and he said that he had worked very hard for her over the past 3 years, and he had received numerous recommendations from his superior, and he had shown leadership, gained respect from his co-workers, and he'd like to ask for the 35% rise. Well, the woman replied to him that she appreciated his support work. She saw a bright future for him with their company, and she was ready to give him a rise, but she didn't think their budget can afford 35%, and she wanted to know if there were any other ways they can satisfy him. The man replied to her that the 20% rise, a longer vacation time, and the supervisor's position. The woman replied to him that she could give him the 20% and the supervisor position, but didn't tell her the longer vacation because they would see how the schedule worked. The woman introduced she was leading us, and she had applied for the receptionist position in her office 2 weeks ago, and she wanted to know if the position had been filled. The woman replied to her that she had been just about to contact her because she was one of the applicants they had selected for the interview, and she wanted to know when the woman was available that quick, because they were going to interview the candidate from Wednesday to Friday. The woman replied to her that Thursday would be good for her because and she wanted to know how about the time because she preferred the afternoon around 2 o'clock. The woman agreed with her, and she reminded that there wouldn't be anyone at the reception desk, so she suggested coming straight to room 4 and asking to speak with Simon calling. The man got the woman's attention, and he said he needed to ship a very important parcel to Sydney, and it was imperative that it get there by Sunday by 11 in the afternoon. The woman agreed with him, and she commented that he had 2 options. he could send it by express mail, and a delivery person could drive it there by Sunday at 4 p.m., or he could have a courier, and it could be get there by Sunday at 8 a.m. The man agreed with her, and he thought the courier would be safer, and he wanted to know if there was any way he could verify exactly when the recipient got the package. The woman agreed with him, and she replied that she would give him a receipt and the tracking number. Then he could check it online. Once the recipient received the package, that they would sign for it. Once they signed for it, it would show up online his tracking number. The woman got the man's attention, and she wanted to know when the man could get back from work, because she was thinking of making dinner right then, but she didn't want it to get cold. The man replied to her that he wasn't too sure because he was very busy. He didn't know when he would be able to get it done. He could finish up at home so he could have dinner with her, but he didn't think that's a good idea, and he suggested starting without him, or maybe go out for dinner with a friend. The woman suggested making something and bringing it to work for him, and she wanted to know if the security would let her in. The man agreed with her, and he suggested calling him when she arrived, and he would come down to notify the security. The man said hello to the woman, and he said he was phoning from Seattle, Washington. He'd like to make a reservation for a two-bedroom suite. His name was Thurman. The woman agreed with him, and she commented that she could provide the airport pickup for him as well if he liked, and she suggested telling them his arrival time, flight number, and the airline. The man agreed with her, and he said he was flying on Air Embassy Flight 765, and he would be touching down approximately 8 p.m. Toronto time the next day. He would be staying in a hotel for 3 days, and he'd like to request a Seattle Herald newspaper while he was there. Also, he did a 8:30 a.m. wake-up call during his stay. The woman agreed with him, and she said she would have the request fulfilled, and his limo will be expecting him at the Pearson International Airport at 8 p.m. The man wanted to know if the woman were a lawyer, and he wanted to know which law firm the woman was looking for. The woman replied to him that she used to be, and it was been 15 years since she had changed a job, and that she was a judge in federal court. That was the third time she had worked as a judge. The man was surprised by that, and he wanted to know if the judge was as exciting as it looked on TV. The woman agreed with him, and she commented she was really happy with her job then, because she thought it was less stressful than her previous job. The woman wanted to know when the man would be able to finish his work, because everyone was there and they were thinking about ordering, and she wanted to know if she could wait for him or go ahead and order. The man replied to her that he was with a client right then. He didn't know how long that meeting would take, but for sure it shouldn't take longer than 15 minutes. The man suggested going ahead and order, and he suggested the woman order for him something as well, chicken or beef, not fish. The woman replied to him that let she take a look at the menu. Julia and she were ordering the chicken. She thought Mark was ordering a steak. The steak looked pretty filling. Also, there was chicken pasta, and the woman wanted to know if the man were really hungry. The man replied to her that he wasn't that hungry. He would join her and Julia and order the chicken later, and he said he would also give her a call once the meeting was over, because he would need a direction to the restaurant. The woman said hello to the man and thanked the man for calling Pierman Relative Group, and she said to Patsy. The man said hello to Patsy, and she said that were coming from management department, and he was returning her call about the broken sink in her office, and he could come by and visit the next day morning if that was okay. The woman disagreed with him because they couldn't wash anything then, and it smelled awfully bad, and she wanted to know if he could come that afternoon. The man agreed with her, and he said he would try to rearrange his schedule to fit her if in some time that afternoon, and he said he would call her again before he got there.